It's important to understand what the 5G is doing and what they say it's doing. We're told on the IEEE beamforming document that this technology cooked your eyes like eggs in World War II. And you all need to understand these are military weapons. These are assault frequencies. If you garner nothing more than that, that's what you need to know. It's microwave radiation warfare, is what this is.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the National Press Club Federal Communications Commission Chairman Tom Wheeler.
It's an honor to be here at the National Press Club. The first generation wireless, 1G, was voice. The second generation, 2G, allowed both talk and text. Third generation, 3G, the internet, in a limited way. And today's technology, 4G, completed that digital migration. But if anyone tells you that they know the details of what 5G is going to become, run the other way.
This video is brought to you by the number 5 and the letter G. And pretty soon, everything else will be too.
I have to tell people 5G is a killer. I'm Mark Steele, anybody who hasn't heard me. I'm a weapons systems head-up display expert, I'm one of the leading experts in the world. I've actually brought cover in relation to this, and the reason I became an expert was to invent them. What I'm going to say to you today, do not believe a single word I say. Not one. I want you to do your own research. You'll find it's absolutely terrifying. You got your body card?
Aye.
Oh, good lad. Right, because I can talk to that. This 5G roll-up is a weapon system. I've got a letter in with central government because I know about weapon systems more than anything other.
In Britain, in a place in the north of England called Gateshead, a scientist there called Mark Steele has been very publicly and actively warning people about the effects of LED streetlights, which he says in Gateshead are emitting now 5G.
Right, what's the crack?
Hey, lads. I'm just having a word with these Gateshead council workers about replacing these transmitters on these lights that are causing harm and assaulting the community. This is an existential threat to the economy, to the environment and humanity.
If these transmitters are everywhere, then everyone's at risk, surely.
There's a lot of confusion about what 5G is. The G stands for generation. So you started off with the first transmitter system.
Back in the 1980s.
In the 80s, yeah. So you had 1G, then you had 2G. And as the generations moved on, you started to see more complex signal systems, cleverer pieces of antenna designs, etc., etc. So the whole thing became more data, quicker downloads, etc., etc. However, 5G is something completely different.
You must consider the whole part played by electricity in nature. Human beings cannot go on developing in the same way in an atmosphere permeated on all sides by electric currents and radiations. It has an influence on the whole development of man. This life of men in the midst of electricity, notably radiant electricity, will presently affect them in such a way that they will no longer be able to understand the news which they receive so rapidly. The effect is to damp down their intelligence. Such effects are already seen today. Even today, you can notice how people understand the things that come to them with far greater difficulty than they did a few decades ago. Rudolf Steiner, 1924.
Before we get into 5G any further, there are many things you must understand before the end times come, because 5G is more than the beginning of the end. We'll have to go back and lay the foundation so you can see how the 5G really works and travels, and how this is done is using the word of the Most High God in every single prophecy like you've never heard. This video will save many lives and assist you in doing so. And all the prophecies of Revelation, every beast, every spirit, false prophet, you name it, none of it's what you think. Get all these popes and everything out of your mind. We're going to walk through these, not because I say so, but because history dictates. First, we must go to the dragon. We have a dragon. Revelations 12:9. This is after the Christ completed his sacrifice, the only begotten Son, and rose again. In heaven there was a war. But the Revelations 12:8 and 9. But the dragon was not strong enough, and no longer was any place found in heaven for him and his angels. And the great dragon was hurled down, the ancient serpent called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. We're going to watch the seven-headed beast in a moment rise up. And I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, now have come salvation and power in the kingdom of our God. Salvation is now available. We're going to move on. Pay close attention. We're laying the foundations coming to the 5G, which is part of the beast, but we must know these beasts. So now this dragon is hurled down. And in Revelations 13:1, you'll read, and I stood upon the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea. The spiritual was cast down, and the seven angels, the seven fallen ones, who are opposed to the seven angels of the seven churches. These seven heads that you are going to see are seven fallen angels in this beast. And I stood upon the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the names of blasphemies, lies. When you read, as it is written, about the beast before the throne, who have eyes within and eyes without, the 4. Now, you see the beast in heaven. We won't break down into detail who and what these are, but they have eyes within because they're looking within. And the king is the lion first, the Christ, Yahshua, your salvation, your Savior, the only begotten of the Father. And all of these have eyes within because they're looking within to keep clean and show you how to be clean. Now back. And I stood in the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his. And I stood in the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns. These 7 heads are 7 fallen angels, rose up out of men. Your commerce and things, your needs. They rose up out of men in the literal sea, the 7 seas of shipping. They run the 7 seas. And each one of the 7 heads has a continent, and each as these horns that they rose up. These 7 heads are also to be understood as one head is for shipping and in control of all shipping. When I say shipping, I'm saying trains, planes, ships, the whole 9 yards. Finance, currencies, the English pound, the euro dollar, the American dollar, the Federal Reserve Bank, the Bank of England, the International Monetary Fund, the cash. One head is shipping, one is finance, one is resources, oil, gold, silver, steel. They own the steel. They only sell the steel and build the ships for those of their own. You can't get in that cartel. Airplanes and trains and tractor trailers and huge engines, they can limit and control all the industries of transport. Shipping is one head, finance is the other currencies, resources, food is the 4th head. The 5th head is your land and property, governments and religion, the 7 heads. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. Let's have a look at the leopard of Persia. And they chose that leopard. Let's look at the American eagle. They chose that eagle. Let's look at the UK, England, the bear. They chose that. Let's look at, the lion, the lion. The bear, Russia. The dragon, China. All these nations chose these. These are not mysteries. These are facts. These are facts. Now let's watch and see. In the early days, coming up, we'll have one beast giving voice to another beast. Let's see who these beasts, and at the root, who the beast that you cling to is of finance and the American dream of a good life. Here's where they brought it together. Revelations 13:3, and I saw one of the heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And the world wondered after the beast. Let's see this head that's wounded. And I saw one of the heads as if it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. You're just seeing what they have done. They performed a miracle. And their military of America goes on. And the currency stays at the top as they continue to take over other nations who refuse to take the dollar. Those who fail to worship the beast or accept the image or accept it is killed. Who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? They're talking about America. Now remember, Rothschilds. Let's have a look at the Rothschild shield. The leopard body with the lion's mouth and the bear's feet, and the unicorn with the small horn on the other side, with the eye of a man in that unicorn. The 7 fallen ones are running the show. They used the Rothschilds, Warburg, Schiffs, and Drexels as men in the flesh to bring these things and bring this beast into being in the material world. What's this? Satan's way of life is your seal. Satan's way of life, you being better than somebody else. Satan's way of life, that you can do whatever you set your mind to. Satan's way of life, that we can conquer and do anything. Satan's way of life, luxury and plush. Satan's way of life, every beautiful thing, and it's never enough, and it's always got to be better. The need for more greed. This is Satan's way of life. He says, follow him in his ways. Seek the kingdom of God. All these be added unto you. Feed your brothers and sisters. Confess your sins. Have your light on the roof, as it is written. Revelations 13:5, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. Blasphemies are lies. Okay, lies against the Most High and things like this, but lying about anything in creation is a lie against the Most High. This is all his creation. To call a land something it isn't is a lie, is a blasphemy. To call people and nations of people in the Bible of the Old Testament who had names of their families and names of their tribes and then dissipate them and blow them into oblivion and give them new identities as French and German, Spain, England, Portugal, by giving them different and new identities. These are also blasphemies, so keep these in mind. Now let's read. And I saw one of the heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And the world wandered after the beast, looking at America and the whole banking and government system of it. And they worshiped the dragon which gave the power unto the beast. Now, let's have a look at the truth about China. Revelations 13:4. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Who can make war with America? With the machine of the Rothschilds, or whatever, Egyptian Drexels, which is the beast of the seven fallen ones from the seven heads that are controlling it all. 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue for 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. Revelations 13:7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, whipping and beating the slaves. Got the poor, the Puerto Ricans here. Other those the sons of Jacob. We also have the Indians that the troops overtook, which was written of in Jacob spoke of. And it was given unto them to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and they have and destroyed you. And look at you all here in America and in all four corners. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. This beast that we're talking about is the financial and governmental imperialistic America that they impose on everybody else. We go to nations and make them take this. If they don't, they are the enemy. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. That leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience of the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, gentle and kind. China's pretty cool. They don't mess with anybody. Watch this. And he speaks to the dragon, this lamb with the two horns of the dragon. You got Korea, and China, and this is who we're talking about. And he exercises all power of the first beast of America before him, bombing. They're going to set up all these bombs. The trade, the economic fight, you name it. They're putting it in your face, China, but also nicely without claiming war like America would normally does. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercises all the power of the first beast, America's government and financial system, before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, because America stands strong. People go, wow, what's with this? Even China's 2 million man army against America's 1 million. Everything, but yet the first beast. And behold, another beast coming up out of the earth had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, and he exercised all power of the first beast, America, before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, America. See, China and Korea do this because look at them, whose deadly wound was healed. Who can kill their financial system? Who can kill their military? And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Korea and them, and the wars going on in the South China Sea war games. And they're putting up all these miracles, but there's no war coming. And deceiveth them all that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had made which had the wound by the sword and did live. By all they're doing, and America still stands. You see, with China, they're giving them this glory. Russia is giving them this glory, but here we're talking with the dragon giving this power. And causes many that would not worship the image of the beast, they should be killed. Back in the days of Bush, Obama, invade a country because they didn't have the dollar. Iraq, Saddam Hussein put it down in 1988, had to invade, overtake them. When we destroy under UN rules, America gets to implement their dollar and pay for the reconstruction. So it's profitable to destroy, so they have to make up these lies to go into Iraq, to go into Libya, to try to go into Iran and into Syria. We go where ever those are, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast, they should be killed. These are the ones straight up being killed in the Middle East, North Africa, Venezuela. They will not take this image, this dream, because we're going to get into the image now of the beast. And he causeth all, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or their forehead. Now we're coming into the 4G, your phone, your telephone, your laptop, your desktop, watch. And he causeth both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark in their right hand or their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you can have any one of these 3. It's not just a chip. Nobody's going to take an RFID chip. You already got it in your phone. You're voluntarily clinging to it. Amazon, Craigslist, Home Advisors, Angie's List, Google, everything you buy online, all your transactions you can do online. They are closing down stores that you walk into now, more and more, because the business isn't there. It's in delivery online. and that no man might buy or sell, save he have that the mark of the name of the beast, and number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. Of it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score 66. Let's have a look at the six-pointed star. The one that flies over Israel, the one that's on your dollar bills, the one that's buried and embedded everywhere. This is the trademark for the Zionist Corporation, formed in 1893. This star is a star of worship, and a worship of a way of life and the dream, an image. They brought you television, they brought you toasters, mixers, washers, dryers, and they put it on TV, and you had to have this. They brought you all these goods and brought you all this, and you had to have this. And the more they brought in cars and motorcycles, you had to have more. You cling to the ways of your master. You cling to the beast and his image. And there came, Revelation 17, and there came one of seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Let's have a look at the Statue of Liberty. Let's have a look at Ishtar. These two, the great whore, marks America. The whore who rides the beast, the government and financial system. Party it up. More, more, more. Who needs one person? A woman don't need a man. She can stand on her own. Use them for procreation. Do what you want. Your will. Do what thou will is the generation. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. The United States is in 170 of 196 countries in the world with military bases, overseeing, running, enforcing. She sits on many waters. This is practical application for today. This is who this is. And you'll see in more in a minute. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. This is the beast we were just speaking of, a luxury, United States, the front of the Rothschild's Roybridge and ships set up by the seven fallen angels and the seven heads that rose out of the sea. This one is full of name of blasphemies, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was the name written, Mystery Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots, and the abomination of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of the Christ. And when I saw her, I wondered in great admiration. Babylon rose a tower. We're coming around now to the beginning of this video with the 5G. As it is written in Enoch, 12 portals with windows in between each. These portals and windows we will get into in a minute, but these are the frequencies and waves of how today's Babylonian society, government, luxurious living, and rising to the heavens is being done through this 5G signal. Okay, continuing on in Revelation 17:7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which has 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. This is Satan's way of life. It never was. It came in 4 times, in 4 kingdoms of Babylon. These came in, but never all at once. The 4 beasts today, these beasts you see are the same 4 kingdoms of Daniel that took place in Daniel's lifetime. Now are here all simultaneously at the same time. And the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundations of the world. We're not into this, so we're not in any wonder of any of this. We don't care about any of it. When they beheld the beast that was and is not and yet is, selfish greed, advancement, you're powerful and strong, can have anything. 17:9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains. Tell you the fallen ones, 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. America's riding it for the time being, courtesy of the Rothschilds, but by demand of the 7 heads, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings. 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not. This is your systems, government system and finance and the way you live, more. And is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. So these other nations joined together with America for a time with the beast, with America. These have 1 mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast, the leopard body with the lion's mouth and the bear's feet. Finishing up and looking at the great whore, the Statue of Liberty, and Ishtar, the government system and financial system of the Rothschild, Warburg, Schiffs, and Drexels that function in America, England, all of Europe or Euro, and so on. These are the beast. This is the beast. And after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, Revelations 18, and having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. 3, for all the nations have drunk of her wine. Of her wrath, of her fornication, took part, willing to invade other countries, willing to do anything. Eat, drink, and be merry. You're too powerful, you can never die. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. There will be a currency crash coming, but the currency crash cannot come before 5G is implemented, the mark and the taking of the mind, connecting with the computer, so you have the mark in your forehead or your right hand, and are connected with this beast. Are clinging to its way of life, are clinging to the way of life of its masters. Selfish, need, greed, wanting more, luxury, better, self-improvement, greater for yourself. This is the way of life you choose. This is the way of life that gives you the image of the beast. The 4G and coming into 5G is going to be happening, and it already is today, as you will see now in videos.
The Internet of Things is changing much about the world we live in, from the way we drive to how we make purchases, and even how we get energy for our homes. Sophisticated sensors and chips are embedded in the physical things that surround us, each transmitting valuable data that lets us better understand how these things work and work together. But how exactly do all these devices share such large quantities of data, and how do we put that information to work? Whether we're improving the production of a factory, giving city residents real-time updates on where to park, or monitoring our personal health, it's the common Internet of Things platform that brings this diverse information together and provides the common language for the devices and apps to communicate with each other. The process starts with the devices themselves, which securely communicate with an Internet of Things platform. This platform integrates the data from many devices and applies analytics to share the most valuable data with applications that address industry-specific needs. Let's start with a simple example, a car. After taking a long road trip, Rebecca notices that her check engine light has come on. She knows that she needs to have her car looked at by a mechanic, but is not sure whether it's something minor or something that needs immediate attention. As it turns out, the sensor that triggered Rebecca's check engine light monitors the pressure in her brake line. This sensor is one of many monitoring processes throughout the car, which are constantly communicating with each other. A component in the car called the diagnostic bus gathers the data from all these sensors, then passes it to a gateway in the car. The gateway integrates and sorts the data from the sensors. This way, only the most relevant diagnostic information will be transmitted to the manufacturer's platform. But before sending this organized data, the car's gateway and platform must first register with each other and confirm a secure communication. The platform is constantly gathering and storing thousands of bits of information from Rebecca's car and hundreds of thousands of cars like hers, building an historical record in a secure database. The manufacturer has added rules and logic to the platform. So when Rebecca's car sends a signal that her brake fluid has dropped below a recommended level, the platform triggers an alert in her car. The manufacturer also uses the platform to create and manage applications that solve specific issues. In this case, the manufacturer can deploy an application on the platform called the Asset Management System. This application oversees all of their customers' cars on the road, as well as all the parts in their warehouses. It uses the data from Rebecca's car to offer her a potential appointment time to service her car, directions to the nearest certified dealer, and a coupon for the service. What's more, the app will ensure that Rebecca's brakes are covered under her warranty, that the correct replacement part is ordered, and then sent to the dealership so it is ready when she arrives. But the manufacturer's analysis does not stop there. They have also deployed a continuous engineering application that tracks not only Rebecca's car, but hundreds of thousands of others, looking for ways to improve the design and manufacturing process of the car itself. If the same problem in her brake line crops up in a critical number of other cars, the manufacturer uses applications custom-built for the automobile industry to pinpoint the exact problem. They can see if these cars were made at the same factory, used the same parts, or came off the assembly line on the same day. So what do all these pieces add up to? Streamlined inventory management for the dealer, a better, safer car from the manufacturer. And for Rebecca, it means she can be back on the road faster and get to where she's going safely. All thanks to the Internet of Things.
So now that we understand and we see where this 5G is going, and we know it's coming through the portals that was written of in Enoch, and that was given to you by a man by the name of Bill Gates, opening windows with Tesla technology from Thomas Edison, with the train system and the shipping system of shippers in the ocean, airplanes and trucks, with the steel industry taking, as we've seen earlier in this video. Everything was taken under by J.P. Morgan early on and others to form the entire beast. Now, getting into as this beast is being imposed upon and those not taking it killed for a couple of decades now as we in America invade those countries which refuse the image or the lifestyle or the wanting ways of the beast government for their own elections and their own finance and debt. They are killed. Now, Revelations 9:14, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. As we see, take a look, the Euphrates River is bone dry. And also it is written about Damascus. With these signs being done, that no man, no woman or child can deny.
A few days ago, actually, a group of scientists, doctors, environmental organizers, and concerned citizens got together and they called for the urgent stop to the deployment of 5G. They said that it's been proven harmful to human bodies, that this is an experiment on humanity, and that this should be called a crime under international law. Let's talk about today's technology, what we have going on today. Your phone is constantly sending electromagnetic fields in and out of each other. Whether or not you're receiving a notification right now, all of our digital tech sends this data back and forth, right, using these invisible microwave radiation signals, aka radio frequency radiation.
Right.
That's today's tech. We have every cell tower, every router constantly pulsing with radiation, whether or not you're using it. Science shows that this causes DNA damage, cancer, among other things. But don't take my word for it.
And that's just with 4G.
That's just with today's technology.
Before we get to
Correct.
5G, right now you got some of it, but
Exactly.
not that much.
Let's listen to what Dr. Sharon Goldberg has to say. She's a clinical researcher and an internal medicine physician. This is what she has to say about what we're using today.
Wireless radiation has biological effects, period. This is no longer a subject for debate when you look at PubMed and the peer-reviewed literature. These effects are seen in all life forms: plants, animals, insects, microbes. In humans, we have clear evidence of cancer now. There is no question. We have evidence of DNA damage, cardiomyopathy, which is the precursor of congestive heart failure, neuropsychiatric effects.
This is one woman's experience of living on the top floor under cell antennas for 2 months.
It started with my daughter. She initially got a rash on her leg that was sort of unexplainable, and when she was trying to explain to me what it felt like, she kept saying it was kind of funny because it wasn't hurting inside or on the skin. She said it was hurting in the skin. And then a few days later, she got another rash on her arm, and then another small kind of stranger rash, and it was the same thing. And then one day in the kitchen, she was holding something and she dropped it because she said it felt like the blood in her hand went cold and in a wave along her hand to her fingertips, and then her hand stayed numb for about 15 minutes. Some more of the symptoms include a sort of hissing in my ear, in particular when I'm in my apartment, but for about 3 days, anywhere I went, it would just sort of come in. I kind of felt like an antenna, and I'd sort of kind of go like, trying to find the place where the hissing or the buzzing stopped. I've not slept in my apartment since last Saturday, so a week ago now, and the buzzing went away after about 3 days, and also the feeling of tingling all over my body slowly started to go away. But I have noticed that whenever I'm in other buildings now or anywhere close to, I don't even know what, because I was never sensitive before. I'm no Luddite. I have computers. I have all the stuff that most of us have, and I've never been sensitive at all. But now wherever I go, I'm feeling the same as I felt in my apartment, feeling dizzy and nauseous and a sort of a metallic taste in my mouth, headache and pressure on my head, and just feeling like I want to sort of faint or throw up. And that's wherever I go now. So I found myself becoming increasingly sensitive to my own computer and my own cell phone in ways that I never was before.
You must make way for the mark of the beast. You must make way for the 5G. You must, as it is written in Ezekiel, go into the woods and sleep. You must go into the woods and sleep. He will hold back the beast of the land. This 5G will be in the cities and surrounding towns, but it will not reach all the way out there. Here is your deliverance. It's not running. We prepare for others later. You practice this each week on the Feast of Tabernacles, each year, as it is written in the law. Here it is. In the Feast of Tabernacles is your deliverance. You see all the Euphrates River, Revelation 16:12, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the king of the east might be made, the Silk Road, and all that we've seen earlier. And when the 5G comes out, Revelation 16:2, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome, obnoxious noisome, and grievous sore upon them men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worshipped his image. You can't put it down. You can't put it down.